So how to create memorable characters, right? So the first thing that I want all of you to remember is that creating a memorable character is not just about making the character memorable, right? So memorable is sort of the last thing that you need your character to be. Before that, you have to build a foundation. So the three things that you need every character to be is realistic, relatable, and memorable. So here, memorable is sort of the third thing that happens, right? The first thing, the basic thing that you need to do with any character that you're writing, and whether you're writing a short story, whether you're writing a book, is to make the character realistic. And this is true for your main characters, but this is also true for, your side characters. Even if a character appears for like 2 minutes in your show or your movie, or even if a character has like two dialogues and then leaves and is never to be seen again in your book, you have to make sure that each character is realistic. And you have to make sure that each character, secondly, is relatable. What that means is that your character should be relatable to the reader. As a reader, when I'm reading something, I need to, read something about the character and think, oh yeah, I do that, or oh, I think like that, or I know someone who thinks like that. So essentially, you have to make them very human, because the moment they become relatable, they become human, is when your audience or your reader will start connecting with the character emotionally. And when the reader starts connecting with the character is when the reader gets invested in what is happening to the character, right? The reader needs to care about your character enough to care about what happens to the character, to care about, oh, does the character live or die, is the character happy or unhappy. And in order to make the reader invested, you have to make your character relatable. So these are sort of the first two things that you need to make sure every character has, right? These are the basics. And then once you have achieved these two things, is when you start thinking about, okay, now that I've done these two things, how do I make my character memorable so that even after reading or watching, uh, the reader is still going to sort of come back and is going to remember the character firstly, and then come back to my show or come back to my book for more. So these are the three things that we're going to look at today. Okay, so I want to start with this quote by Ray Bradbury, where he says that plot is no more than footprints left in the snow after your characters have run by on their way to incredible destinations. The reason I want to bring up this quote is that a classic mistake that writers make, that we as writers make, is that when we're thinking about a story, we immediately start thinking about the plot of the story, right? So we run ahead. We think about, okay, this is what I want to happen in the story. I want to have like a romance. So I'm going to have two characters. They're going to dislike each other. Then they're going to start liking each other. Then they're going to fall in love. Then there's going to be an obstacle. So you've already sort of decided what the plot of the story is going to be. If it's a mystery, then you've already decided, okay, this person gets murdered, that is the mystery, this is a murder mystery, and this is going to be the killer, right? So you've already made those decisions. And then what you're trying to do is that you're trying to force fit your characters into acting the way you want them to act in order for you to achieve what you have already decided with your plot. But that doesn't always work with characters, because then that can make your characters inauthentic. So what you need to remember as a writer is that you have to let your characters lead the action or the plot of the story. So whenever anything happens in the story, you have to sort of take a pause and say, okay, now how will my main character react to this? So instead of looking at it as, you know, uh, the plot of the story is event A happens followed by event B followed by event C, you have to leave it at, this is my character, this is how my character thinks. Now, if I put this character in situation A, how will my character react? If your character is, say, um, a woman, a 30-year-old woman, right, who is in a haunted mansion. So you have to think about, okay, how will a 30-year-old woman react when she goes into a haunted mansion? Firstly, will she even go inside in the first place? Like a trope or a joke about horror movies is that they show like young women, say, making these like really stupid decisions or going inside haunted mansions or going in places that clearly look creepy, right? And the first question you have to ask yourself is, If I was in that woman's place, would I actually enter this house? Would I enter this building? Is that realistic? Right? So you have to really think about what makes sense, what makes logical sense for your character to do, and how will they react to every situation, and not try to sort of force fit how you want them to react, because that is what is convenient for your plot to move ahead. And that can be difficult to do, because obviously you want the story to go the way you want, because like you are the creator, and like you're on a power trip and this is your story, so it should go exactly how you want. But you have to really sort of take that step back and go into every character's mind and sort of think of how would this character react to each situation, how would that character react, and then how would they interact with each other, right? So at every situation, ask yourself, what would like the character name do, like what would this character do? And then once you have figured that out, then you can start thinking about, in terms of being realistic, you can start thinking about how do they talk, how do they move, what do they wear. So this can be something as simple as, if they're living in the mountains, then they'll obviously be wearing warmer clothes, right? There'll be a jacket, there'll be like a woolen cap, there'll be maybe gloves or mittens. And how does that affect how they move, how they talk, how they walk, how fast they walk? So you have to think about the details of these things, because that is when your character sort of comes to life. For example, now I am someone who, when I talk, as you can see, I move my hands a lot, right? I um, emphasize, I exaggerate my gestures when I move my hand. Now you have to think of your character. Does your character also do that? So when I am writing a character, I think about, okay, does my character move her hands a lot like this, or does she not move her hands at all? So these are sort of a small example, but these are things that you have to think about, and that's what brings your character to life, right? And these are the details that make your character consistent as well. So for example, Villanelle, right, from Killing Eve, now she is an assassin. So whenever she does something, you have to think about, how would an assassin react to a situation? And you can't make her react a different way just because that's what is convenient for your plot. So you have to really think about those kind of things. And even in terms of how they move, it can be something as simple as, you know, uh, do they sort of shuffle their feet when they walk? Do they drag their feet? Do they walk very fast? Do they walk very slow? Is your character a shy person? Then how does your character talk? Versus if your character is a very loud, confident person, then how do they talk? And that those kind of details, once you sort of start identifying these details about your characters, you'd also be able to add these details to your dialogues, to how you're writing your characters. And even though you're not directly telling the reader, oh, this character is shy, right? You don't have to say that directly, but it will come across because you are aware of it. So when you're writing it, it will automatically show. So that's how to make characters realistic. And then also think about, where is your character set? Like, are your characters in India? If they're in India, then how do they talk? If they're in the US, then how do they talk? And then again, obviously the same questions again: how they move, how they wear, what are sort of the patterns of speech? What are how do they greet each other, right? Do they say hi, hello? Do they say are yaar? So you have to think about those kind of things when you're writing your characters. The second thing is emotional connect. So emotional connect is how you make your characters relatable to the reader. And in order to do this, the first thing that you need to do is to develop multidimensional characters. And what this means is that you have to stay far, far away from, anything that represents a stereotype, right? So I've given some examples here of good and evil, right? So like, what is a stereotypical hero and a villain? What is a stereotypical like nerd who wears a chashma and is studious and is probably like thin and not physically fit, versus like a jock who is like dumb and plays football. So these are the stereotypes that have developed over time, and what you need to do in your writing is avoid those stereotypes so that your character isn't just like a one dimensional cutout, like a cliche. It's the same thing with like a tomboy versus a girly girl, right? Like these stereotypes have been done so much that if you also do that in your story, often the reader will just get turned off, because the reader will be like, oh, like there's nothing new about this, there's nothing memorable about this, and there's nothing that we as readers can relate to. Because even you, when you read, when you watch something, you know that you are not a one-dimensional person, right? Like you are not either good or evil. You're not either shy or bold. Like even if you're someone who is shy with strangers, you might be someone who's very comfortable with people that you're very close to, right? So no one is an extreme of anything, and so you have to make sure that your characters also don't seem like that. And gray characters are very appealing because of that, right? Because with every character you have to have like the character has strengths and weaknesses and needs to have flaws and needs to have redeemable qualities that makes you sort of like the character. That's why often if you see in stories they'll have backstories for characters, right? And for example, so I love villains, right? Like I personally am someone who thinks that villains make really, really great, memorable characters. And a lot of my favorite characters are villains. And what makes them so great is that, they'll give a backstory, right? Or they'll give like some redeemable quality where you're just like, okay, this person might be awful, but they do one thing which is very similar to what I do. And so I love them, right? And I'm thinking like Sherlock, BBC Sherlock's Moriarty, who is like evil villain. And there they are not trying to be like, oh, but look, such a tragic backstory, this is why he became a villain. That's not how they create an emotional connection. They do it by just having like a Queen soundtrack every time he comes on screen. And I love Queen, so immediately, I love him, or I love the way he talks, or how dramatic he is, or how funny he is. And so that is a different way of creating an emotional connection, because you're not saying that, oh, look, this person is so tragic, feel bad for them, right? You're just saying that, he's a villain, but here he's also funny. And so you like the character. So there are different ways of how emotional connection works as well. It's not always like sad and, oh, tragic backstory and, oh, I feel pity for this character, so I relate to them. It can be anything. It can be at a very like, oh, I have felt what this character has felt kind of a level of connection. But it can also be like, uh, this person is hilarious, right? So there are different there's a different range to what kind of a connection readers can develop with your characters, but you just have to make sure that there is something that is that people are able to connect to. There is something human and vulnerable and relatable about each character that you write. And the easiest way to sort of do that, I mean, the most universal experiences that writers usually use are like love or heartbreak, friendship, struggling with identity, uh, like pain or trauma. So pain or trauma are the ones that we see usually where there'll be like a backstory and they'll be like, oh, like the parents were really mean or whatever. But like these are the kind of tropes that are usually used to make a character sort of emotionally relevant, right? Like for example, if you're talking about Harry Potter and Snape, so we spend um, so many books like hating Snape and thinking of him as a villain. And then in the last book, that thing is done on purpose, right? Where Harry goes back into Snape's memories, and then you sort of see this completely different side of Snape. And for a lot of people, that one scene was transformational, right? Because immediately they were like, oh my God, poor Snape, I love Snape. And the power of that scene to be able to do that, because what J.K. Rowling has done is that she has used these tropes, right? She has used tropes of friendship, love, identity struggles, pain, heartbreak to establish this backstory for Snape, which immediately changes the way people look at him. I mean, I personally don't think he's a good guy, but it changes the way people look at that character because she has used all of these universal experiences that people can relate to, even if not to the T, but they can relate to like unrequited love, or they can relate to friendship where you drift apart, or they can relate to struggling between like peer pressure, or struggling between like sort of keeping your old friends and these new friends that you're being influenced by. So all of these things are very universal experiences that writers use in order to you know connect their characters with the readers. So that's the second thing. And then finally, so once you've done those two things, now your character is so you have achieved sort of the first two things, right? So your character is realistic, your character is relatable, and this is the basic to write a good story. So once you have these two things down, all you're doing is making sure that your reader will read till the end of the story. Because if you don't have these two, you can't even guarantee that the reader will read till the end, right? The reader might lose interest. So now you've made sure that the reader reads your story and the reader likes your story and is like relates to your story. Now the next thing to do is to make your character memorable, which is the challenge. So what is really the difference between a character that's funny, that's relatable, and a character that is iconic to the point where, you know, everyone remembers that character? Like you can just sort of show something about that character and people will immediately know who you're talking about, right? So how can you achieve that? So one thing that writers do a lot is to have some unique characteristic or habit, you know, that sort of represents this character. And I want to use the example of Moira Rose because obviously, I mean, she's hilarious and she has like iconic lines in Schitt's Creek. If you haven't seen it, watch it. But also, she has an accent, and her accent is what really sort of identifies her as a character. Like you hear that accent anywhere, and the actress has created this accent herself. So it's not like it's not an American accent or a British accent or any like actual real accent that exists. She created an accent of her own in order to represent this character, and that accent is now what, you know, has become iconic for Moira, and that's how you can recognize Moira, right? Like because of her accent, she doesn't say baby, she says bebe, and that has become like the classic thing, right? So it's those are the kind of things that people remember. Or, you know, the second image here, so that's Sherlock Holmes, right? And the hat, like the cap, the Sherlock Holmes cap and the pipe have become iconic for Sherlock Holmes. So, you know, if you see sort of the cap and the pipe and say like a magnifying glass anywhere, you immediately know, you can like sort of, it makes a quick association in your brain where you know that it's Sherlock Holmes, because those objects have become synonymous with him. And so that is a way that writers sort of make something memorable, is that you have to find something timeless, something very, very, very specific, that is not cliche, that is not generic, that your character does, and that people will immediately associate with your character. So that is one thing. So it can be a characteristic like objects, it can be habits, it can be an accent, it can be a physical characteristic, right? It can be anything that makes your character very memorable. The second thing is to make sure that your character has an identity separate from the plot of the story. So what that means is your character should be so strong that even if you pick up that one character, put them in a completely different story, you know how that character will act, because you know that character so well that you know exactly how that character thinks, how that character acts. And so no matter what situation you put them in, you will know what they will do next, right? So even if you remove all the other characters, even if you remove the setting, like Sherlock Holmes, he's a detective. Even if you move him to like another part of the world and you remove Watson and you remove like all of these other like London references, right? You still know what Sherlock Holmes' next steps will be. How will he act? He'll solve a mystery, right? So that is the other thing, which is that the character has a life of their own, which is not relying on the genre of your story or the plot of your story in order to function. And you have to know this character so well that the reader knows them as well as you do, right? So it's not just that you as a writer should be able to say, this is how my character will act. You know, it's not just that you should be able to say, acha, now if I take Moira Rose and like send her to this country and make her do this is what she'll say. But your reader should understand the character so well that they should be able to do that as well. And that's when a character becomes really memorable, right? When for them, it's like the character is like their friend. Like, you know, when you're talking to someone and you sort of say, acha, like, you know your friend that well, right? You can say for your friend that, okay, if your friend is put in a certain situation, you would know how they would react to that situation. You would know what they would say, whether they would get angry or sad or upset or happy. And you would know how they would act. And so the character should become your friend and should become your reader's friend. And that is what makes the character very, very memorable and makes the character iconic. So now, obviously, I'm saying that you have to do all of these things. This is not something, you know, like the question is how to do it. right? Because it's not just something that you can magically do. Otherwise, we would all have done it and it would work. So one way to do it is whenever you're writing a story, this is especially for when you're writing a book, is to create this kind of a sketch for your character, right? And you have to, and especially for your main characters who sort of dominate the plot of the story. And so I've made two columns here, if you can see. And the idea is that if these are the basic things, so the column to the left are the basic things that whenever you read a story, you will find that these are the things that the writer will tell you about the character. Or these are the things that we think of as writers when we're writing a character, right? What is the name of my main character, my protagonist, right? What is their name? What is their gender? What is their age? What do they do for work? What do they look like? And you will find like physical descriptions of, oh, she had long brown hair that went up to her waist, right? Like these are the kind of descriptions. Eye color, right? Hair color, how tall they were. These are the kind of descriptions that you will always find in books, and these are the kind of descriptions that you also think of when you're writing something in terms of the character. Where is the character? Place, clothes, again, what the character wears, characteristics, mannerisms, and speech. So often, actually, when we are writing a story, we don't even think beyond place, right? We don't think about clothes, we don't think about mannerisms, we don't think about how this character is talking. But even if you know all of these things which are in the left column, for that character is still just your acquaintance. You only know them as much as you know, say, like someone you work with or someone like a friend of a friend, right? That's sort of the level at which you know your character. And when you only know your character that much, when you're writing your story, the reader knows your character even less, right? So how much ever you know your character, your reader knows maybe 10%. So your reader cannot connect with your character if you cannot connect with your character. And if you cannot connect with your character, then you don't know why your character is doing what they're doing. So in order to even understand what is your character's motivation, why is your character acting in certain ways, what is, like what drives your character, you have to sort of know them really well so that your reader will know them at least a little bit. And that's when this best friend column comes in, because these are the things that you have to know about your character. Who are the most important people in their lives, what are those relationships like. So it can be deep things like that. It can be relationships, it can be like mental health, it can be like motivations and deep desires and what drives them, those kind of details. But they also need to be like really, really like details that might seem stupid to you, but they're important. Like what is their favorite food, movies, songs, what are their likes and dislikes, what are their quirks, what are their opinions about like literally everything in the world. And these kind of details help you, because when you're writing the story, even without realizing, those kind of details will seep into your story, and that is what will make your character relatable. Think of your character like you're going on a dating app and you're meeting this person for the first time, and like you get to know each other, right? Or you like, okay, or you meet someone in person and you're interested in them and you're trying to get to know them, and what are the kind of questions you want to know, what do you want to know about them, what kind of questions will you ask, and so those are the kind of things that you need to know about your character, so that slowly those kind of things will get revealed in the way you write about them, and that is what will make the reader interested in your character, because it will show that you know them really well, and that is what will make your story very relatable and very memorable. So this is one thing to do, which is something that you should do before you start writing the story, right? So character sketches are very, very important, and something that a lot of writers will tell you to absolutely do, especially if you're writing a novel. And then finally, this is sort of the checklist that you should have for yourself when you're writing. So the first is make a detailed character sketch, which is what this is, before you start writing your novel. The second is be true to your characters. So like I said, make sure that you're being authentic to how your character would react to a situation. Once a character has become your best friend, then it's very easy to be like, acha, if this character was on a train and then suddenly the train stopped at a random station, what would this character do, right? If suddenly there were like thieves on the train and they stole all their saman, then what would this character do? So you have to know your character well enough to know that any situation that they're put in, how would they react, right? Then after every action that you put in your story, pause and ask yourself, why did my character do this? Do you have a reason? If you have a reason for why your character did something, then go ahead with the story. If you don't have a reason, that means that you're just making your character do something because that's what's convenient for the plot, or that's what's necessary for the story to move ahead. And then take a step back and think about why that action is even necessary for the story. Then borrow details from reality. What this means is, like, when you're doing all these character sketches and writing all these details, feel free to borrow from like all the people around you, right? Like, make characters that are combinations of people around you. So it can be like one person's mannerisms, another person's laugh, like third person's hair, and then combine all of this to make a character, because you will obviously, whatever you will write from reality, you will write from what you've seen. And there is inspiration everywhere, right? There are details everywhere. There are so many details that you will know about your best friends, your family members, your siblings, or your partners, and those tiny details, just pick and choose random details and then put them together and create a character. And then you will know the character really, really well. Then pay extra attention to dialogues, right? So think about, how do people talk in real life? Is my character talking in a realistic way? If my character is a child, how do children talk versus how do adults talk? So really think about whether your dialogue makes sense and whether that is how people talk in real life. Then kill your darlings, which is my favorite thing ever, which is to essentially say not every character is worth saving. And I don't mean that in like a death way. I mean, it can be death, but also in like how the story ends, like you choose a satisfying ending over a happy ending. Not every story will have a happy ending. Not every character will have a happy ending. So don't force fit characters into endings that don't work for them. Like, be brutal and be sort of aware of that. And then finally, analyze what makes your favorite characters memorable, which is why I asked you at the beginning, who are your favorite characters? Because now what you can do is you can go back, you can look at those characters, you can like read that book, watch that movie, and identify the details that make you go, oh, I like this character, and then write those details down. Because when you analyze is when you will start learning how to do that in your own stories, when you can start analyzing how others have done that in their stories. So that is my checklist. And yeah, so that is how you can create memorable characters. And because we talk about different genres and we have these different things, and memorable characters can be in any genre, right? So irrespective of what genre you want to write in, you can make sure that you write characters that are interesting, that are relatable, that are memorable, and that work really well. If you want to figure out how to analyze stories and how to critically read and analyze stories and pick out like the elements that are interesting, pick out the elements that work, and how figure out how authors or writers do certain things and how you can do them in your own writing. So this is a class that we're actually having in March, in the beginning of March. And this is a longer class, it's 2 weeks. And this I'm very, very excited about because it's also Indian fiction. So it's very much about like reading a lot of different Indian writers, figuring out what are the different things that they do in their writing, and then also figuring out how to do that in your own writing as well.